Namaste everyone, how are you all doing? My all best wishes for this festive season. आप सभी लोगों को दिवाली महोत्सव की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं. So here I am from Supergrads, and we are not here for CAT specific questions, but for preparation of NMAT and SNAP, which are the other management entrance exams beyond CAT. Most of the students are preparing for almost all the there is a bouquet of entrance exams for admission in these prestigious B schools, and most of us are aware of them. So it's not just about CAT, but all other management entrance exams. Specifically, क्योंकि NMAT अभी start हो चुका है before CAT, and people have started preparing for that. So that's the reason why we have come up with this series of sessions, live sessions, wherein we are discussing the important question variety and making you confident how to, solve these questions in hand. The overall structure of NMAT and SNAP, I am very sure that you are by this time you are very clear, because we have been discussing that from day one till now. Both the tests are basically very smoothly functioning, smoothly, you'll be able to write through them. But the only problem is that it is race against time. The questions are moderate to easy, but you have to be a little fast on your, attempt. That's what requires a lot of practice. Although snap के लिए तो अभी time है, after cat you can do that, but then अभी से अगर थोड़ी practice करते रहोगे तो probably it is going to give you a good hold. NMAT के लिए yes, it is mandatory कि अगर आपकी एग्जाम डेट्स जो है वो थोड़ी सी पहले हैं तो इट्स बेटर दैट यू स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग क्वेश्चंस. जीमैक जो है, जो इसकी एग्जाम अथॉरिटी है, the pattern of NMAT, the structure of the exam is exactly like GMAT. But the level of difficulty obviously is not to be compared at all. GMAT ki level of difficulty is way too beyond, the level of difficulty in NMAT. But ये है कि there is no way that you could skip any question. You will have to answer the question, and as you answer the questions, the level of difficulty would increase or decrease as per your answer. If the number of questions are less and the level of difficulty is more, be assured that you are on the right track and you're scoring really well. All right. So without further ado, let's get started, because we have this restricted time limit of 1 hour, and I'm very sure that you have a lot of things in hand. So let us start with the practice. We are here with the most profitable questions in the series of NMAT and SNAP. We are dealing with questions which you can practice and get good marks at. Okay? In these, I am here with critical reasoning questions, which are a very integral part of the LR or DLR part. So with the aim that I would give you a glimpse of and the method or the line of reasoning of solving certain variety of questions which are generally asked in SNAP and NMAT as far as critical reasoning is concerned. So I have come up with a pack of questions, and with all the variety, like we will be dealing with weakening and strengthening of the argument of the author, paradox, then we'll be also dealing with inference, conclusion, and assumptions. And then obviously the most I feel that they are the easiest one and the most alluring ones, and that is course of action questions which we'll be dealing with. All right, so let's get started. I hope you are with me. If you have joined me and you're listening to me and you're ready to solve questions with me, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the first question on your screen. Read the question and try it out, and then we'll discuss it. Okay, done. See, speed is very, very crucial at this juncture. If these exams, you really need to go fast. Otherwise, if you are taking too much of time, then probably you can get all questions correct. But the problem is that you'll not be able to solve those questions, all of those questions. All right. So you have to keep in mind the speed part. All right. So let's do it. A fantastic question that has been on my mind recently. If you spend any time around this philosophical sort, you will usually find a healthy majority of people flirting with Stoicism or dabbling in Buddhist literature. Of course, in many ways, the two are as different as you would expect two philosophies born in different cultures, thousands of miles apart. But the two tend to agree on similar idea. And what is that similar idea? The problem of attachment. So these are two sentences, three sentences, and very clearly saying that Stoicism and Buddhism are very different and have evolved from very different cultures, but they agree on a similar idea, or they are found on a similar idea of problem of attachment. Now, the question is, all of the following strengthen the argument presented in the passage regarding the similarity between Stoicism and Buddhism, except. So, is this actually a strengthening argument? Well, a question. I'm afraid no. It is not asking you to strengthen the author's argument. In fact, it is asking you to do the reverse of it. That means there are three options which are logically agreeing with the author's statement or conclusion or argument, but there is one which is denying, going opposite or contradictory, or probably are not related to the author's argument at all. That is something which you need to find. So it is very, very important that it's not just the reading of paragraph, but also reading of question, which is very, very crucial. Otherwise, you are going to lose marks. All right. So let's do it. We have to identify a sentence or option which is not strengthening the argument. So scholars have found that the origins of Stoicism and Buddhism were influenced by vastly different historical and cultural contexts. So this is talking about the difference and not about the similarity. So this is talking about difference between Stoicism and Buddhism. B. Numerous contemporary philosophers advocate for integrating Stoic and Buddhist principles in addressing personal sufferings. So, what do you mean by integrating? Integrate करना मतलब क्या? साथ में मिलाना. ठीक है, combining or trying to weave them into one fabric. So that means if they are both of similar thread, then only you will be integrating them. So this is talking about similarity. Research indicates that people who practice Stoicism often report fewer issues with attachment than those who do not. So, this is only talking about Stoicism, but it is talking about the principle that people, if they follow the Stoicism, they do not get into the issues of attachment, which is something similar to that of Buddhism. So, this is agreeing with the author. Or probably similarity somewhere, similarity with Buddhism. Both Stoicism and Buddhism offer practical strategies for managing attachment and fostering emotional resilience. So again, this is talking about similarity between both the religions. So no marks for guessing that the answer has to be A, because we have to identify option which is not strengthening the argument about similarity between Stoicism and Buddhism. This is similarity. This is agreeing with the author that Stoicism in practice is helping people get out of the issues of attachment. And this is again talking about similarity between Buddhism and Stoicism. Only answer, option A, is talking about the difference between them, and hence is the answer. Next question. Hi, hello Supernova. हाँ विपिन, एक्चुअली एक्सेप्ट वाला जो क्वेश्चन है ना, वो हमेशा जो क्वेश्चन पूछा है उसको अपोजिट है. जैसे वो स्ट्रेंथन द आर्गुमेंट बोल रहा है एक्सेप्ट, तो दैट मीन्स something which is either irrelevant to the argument or something which is contradicting the argument. All right. Happy Diwali, dear. I started the session by wishing you all happy Diwali. Have a very, very happy Diwali. Enjoy your festivals. Relax your body as much as possible. Relax your mind as much as possible so that you are ready for the challenges you are going to face. I want you to enjoy thoroughly. But right now, let's solve the question. All right. Questions which are based on critical reasoning. Now, the question is, which of the following statements is the author most likely to agree with regarding driving and autonomous technology? So, this is the question which is asking you to agree with the author. There is no except here. The question is easy to moderate, but time is something which you don't have in hand. So, you have to be really fast in doing it. Not more than 90 seconds. Okay, quite easy question. Shouldn't take more than 60 seconds actually. But let's do it. Let's do it together. All right. While some people relish their time behind the wheel, driving is an annoying necessity for most. So there are some people who relish is enjoy. So some people enjoy driving, but most of us, it is an annoying necessity. A time suck that takes attention away from the long list of things they would rather be doing than wondering if that guy actually plans to enter their lane or just forgot his turn signal is on. Matlab, these are all the hassles which you face while you are driving in the city. Right now, our only option may be to buckle up and suck it up. But advances in autonomous driving technology could not only minimize the hassle and stress of driving, but also make our roads safer by removing some human error from the driving equation. Now you have to identify an option which agrees with the author. Author is very clearly saying that driving for most of us is annoying. It also says that autonomous driving technology will lessen or minimize the hassle and would improve safety on roads by dealing with the human error part. A says autonomous driving technology will ultimately eliminate the need for human drivers entirely. So these are extreme option, extreme state. This is an extreme statement because it's talking about eliminating the need, whereas it is talking about minimizing it. Many people find driving to be a frustrating and distracting activity in their daily lives, and that's what he's talking about in the first sentence. So this could be an answer. The current state of driving technology offers a perfect solution to all driving related issues. Again, this is going a little extreme, and the author is not at all talking about giving a perfect solution. It is only saying that it could only minimize and it would deal with some human error. Human error is the primary reason for most accidents on the road today. So this is not talking about that human error is the primary reason, because he's not saying that by removing some human error, the roads will become almost safe, or more, ultimately it will become safe, because human error is one part of it. All right. So again, these are extreme options, and so the answer should be B. This is something which he is talking about. He's saying that although some people relish, but most of us are annoyed. So it is mandatory for all of you to take care that you eliminate options which are on extremes. Do focus on words like all, none, perfect, eliminate. So these are things which, if the author is talking about some, most, then you should not be taking options which are talking about all, none. That is something which you should keep in mind. Unless the author is going on extreme tone, you cannot actually choose an option which is on extreme tone. जैसे मैंने अभी आपको बताया, अगर ऑथर कह रहा है few people, some people, most of the people, दैट मीन्स उसने मेजोरिटी या माइनॉरिटी को कंसिडर किया. अगर ऑप्शन बोल रहा है ऑल द पीपल, नन ऑफ द पीपल, तो ये एक्सट्रीम ऑप्शंस हो गए, इसलिए इनको एलिमिनेट करना है. गॉट द पॉइंट? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन ऑन योर स्क्रीन. गो अहेड, read the question. Which of the following statements, if true, would most weaken the argument? So पिछला क्वेश्चन था about strengthening the argument. This question is about weakening the argument. That means we have to contradict to the author. Okay. So there is a concept that started first on social media known as main character syndrome. It is a modern twist on an ancient egocentric personality tree where some people behave as if they are the main character in a computer game. And so everyone else is treated like a disposable NPC, that is non-player character, an expendable, valueless tool to be used only for the main character's advancement. All right, so main character treats the other players like they are expendables, कबाड़ हैं, use and throw. All right, disposable हैं, मेरे मतलब के लिए यूज किया और फिर फेंक दिया. Main character syndrome can range from moments of selfishness to fully blown clinical narcissism. Narcissism, as I've been time and again telling you, this is a mental, problem with the person, egocentric person. Narcissist is a person who is extremely, fond of himself. He is very, very selfish. Anything and everything which is beyond his ego is something which he doesn't care about. He wants everyone and everything to be for his benefit, nothing beyond that. Okay, Vipin, thank you so much for your compliment. I hope I'm actually making your life easier, and that's the purpose with which I come to you. So मेरा पढ़ाने का तरीका अगर तुम्हें बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, so thank you so much for that. I hope सिंप्लीफाई कर रही हूँ चीजें तो तुम्हारे दिमाग में ज्यादा अच्छे से वो रजिस्टर हो रही हैं. चलो, सो चलते हैं आगे. ये पूरा आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या है? ऑथर का आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या है? क्योंकि हमें उसको वीकन करना है. Author ka argument is about main character syndrome, but it is talking about the thinking that this is something which makes the main character player, very narcissist. He uses other players like use and throw disposables. All right, and he is doing everything for his own advancement, nothing more than that. अब हमें इसको weaken करना है. Main character syndrome inherently leads individuals to treat others as expendable. इस वाले आर्ग्यूमेंट को हमको वीकन करना है या कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट करना है. People with main character syndrome often develop deep and meaningful relationships with friends and family. अब ऑथर यहाँ पर बोल रहा है कि जो मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम को फेस कर रहे हैं, दे आर एक्सट्रीमली सेल्फिश टू द एक्सटेंट ऑफ बिकमिंग नार्सिसिस्ट. और हम ए वाले ऑप्शन में बोल रहे हैं कि जो लोग मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम वाला गेम खेलते हैं या वो जिनमें वो कैरेक्टर स्ट्रिक्ट क्वालिटी होती है, वो डीप एंड मीनिंगफुल रिलेशन बनाते हैं अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली के साथ में. तो जो इंसान अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली के साथ डीप और मीनिंगफुल रिलेशनशिप बना रहा है, वो सेल्फिश कैसे हो सकता है? That means he is trying to be very friendly with people and with his family, nice with the family. So ये कहीं ना कहीं ऑथर की पॉइंट को अटैक कर रहा है. इसको रख लेते हैं. The characteristics associated with main character syndrome are often found in individual with high levels of creativity. अब यहां पर ऑथर का जो आर्ग्यूमेंट है उसमें कहीं पर भी उस मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम वाले की क्रिएटिविटी, प्रोडक्टिविटी या उसकी परफॉर्मेंस के ऊपर बात हो रही है क्या? Okay, so I appreciate Vipin. I appreciate Supernova your compliments. Thank you so much for these compliments. These words mean a lot to me. I hope things are moving really, nice on your end as well. तो हम आगे और इसकी रीजनिंग समझ लेते हैं कि हम किसी ऑप्शन को क्यों एलिमिनेट करते हैं. ऑथर का आर्ग्यूमेंट मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम पे है. ऑथर का आर्ग्यूमेंट की रीजनिंग क्या है? वो कह रहा है मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम जिसको होता है वो दूसरों को यूज एंड थ्रो की तरह यूज करता है, टॉयलेट पेपर या डिस्पोजेबल की तरह यूज करता है. अपने मतलब के लिए यूज किया, फेंक दिया. और वो उन लोगों को क्या बोल रहा है? सेल्फिश और नार्सिसिस्ट. ठीक, तो यहां पर कैरेक्टर की बात आ रही है, सोशलाइजिंग की और कैरेक्टर की बात आ रही है कि लोग वो दूसरों की हेल्प करने की जगह दूसरों को अपने मतलब के लिए यूज करता है. ठीक, और हमें उसे कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट करना है. यहां पर कहीं उस नार्सिसिस्ट पर्सन की या मेन कैरेक्टर सिंड्रोम वाले पर्सन की कैपेबिलिटीज की बात हो रही है, स्किल्स की बात हो रही है क्या? क्या कहीं पर भी ऑथर ने आर्ग्यूमेंट दिया है कि उनकी क्रिएटिविटी बहुत हाई रहती है, प्रोडक्टिविटी बहुत हाई रहती है या वो प्रोग्रेस बहुत जल्दी करते हैं? ऐसी कोई भी बात नहीं की है. ठीक है, सो दिस मेक्स नो सेंस. Main character syndrome can lead to increased motivation and ambition in individuals, benefiting society as a whole. अब यहां पर किस बारे में बात हो रही है? मोटिवेशन एंड एम्बिशन. तो अगेन मोटिवेशन एंड एम्बिशन is not related to his character of narcissist. Selfish character की बात नहीं आ रही है. Doesn't make sense. People with main character syndrome are more likely to engage in charitable activities to help others. So charitable activities, ठीक है, ये ऑप्शन भी अच्छा लग रहा है क्योंकि अगर हम नार्सिसिस्ट हैं तो ऑब्वियसली हम अपने बारे में सोच रहे हैं और चैरिटी कर रहे हैं तो मतलब दूसरों की हेल्प कर रहे हैं. सो दिस ऑप्शन कैन ऑल्सो बी द आंसर. Now come, let's compare A and D. People with main character syndrome often develop deep and meaningful relationship with their family. तो यहाँ पर कहीं कोई सेल्फिश मोटिव नहीं है, क्योंकि फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली के साथ डीप रिलेशनशिप्स हैं और मीनिंगफुल रिलेशनशिप्स हैं, दिखावे की रिलेशनशिप नहीं है। जबकि चैरिटी या चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज जो है वो दिखावे के लिए की जा सकती है। सो दिस इज द स्मॉल डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू, कि कोई इंसान चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज के लिए, जैसे बहुत सारे पॉपुलर पॉलिटिशियंस या सोशल वर्कर्स या जो लोग सेलिब्रिटीज हैं, वो चैरिटेबल एक्टिविटीज दिखाते हैं करते हुए, फोटोग्राफ्स लेते हैं, वीडियोस बनाते हैं, बट दे एक्चुअली आरंट वेरी चैरिटेबल, दे आर जस्ट शोइंग इट ऑफ। तो ये हो सकता है, लेकिन अगर हमारा या किसी का अपने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली के साथ मीनिंगफुल रिलेशनशिप है, तो दैट प्रूव्स दैट द पर्सन इज नॉट सेल्फिश। सो दैट इज द रीजन वन शुड गो विथ ए रादर देन डी। डी एक अच्छा ऑप्शन है जो कि कंफ्यूज कर सकता है। Okay, let's move to the next question. I am expecting more participation, solve questions quickly, and move with my speed. Because SNAP or NMAT, दोनों में speed is very, very important. You don't get much time. All right. Solve this question in 60 seconds. Come up with your answer. Okay. Chalo. The sun is behaving violently right now, throwing out fiery flares and spewing rolling clouds of plasma. So a little poetic kind of language imagery create की जा रही है कि sun जो है वो it is throwing flares of fire, आग उगल रहा है kind of, roiling clouds of plasma again जो है imagery है, तो बहुत गर्मी भड़का रहा बढ़ा रहा है। Viewers across much of Earth were treated to an amazing show of the aurora in last several days, with northern lights visible as far south as Alabama and Arizona. सो नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स का एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत स्पेक्टेयर होता है। आप चाहो तो यूट्यूब पे जरूर टाइप करके देखना। जैसे हम फायर क्रैकर्स से अमेज होते हैं ना, ब्यूटीफुल फायर क्रैकर्स, वैसे ही जो सोलर एक्टिविटी है उससे नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स वाले जो एरियाज हैं जैसे अलाबामा और एरिजोना, वहां पर ये खूबसूरत नजारा देखने को मिलता है। लाइट का डिस्प्ले होता है और उससे अरोरा लाइट्स, बहुत ही खूबसूरत अरोरा लाइट्स का डिस्प्ले सन की एक्टिविटी से होता है, विच पीपल रियली एंजॉय। The sun's behavior is something we should all watch this summer, and not just because solar action may continue to bring beautiful curtains of aurora to our night skies. The reliable, ferocious, and disorderly 11-year behavior cycle of the sun is one of the most bizarre phenomena in our solar system. Ferocious, बहुत ज्यादा aggressive, ओके, सन कैसा है, बहुत एग्रेसिव है। तो उसका जो बिहेवियर है उसके साइकिल में, 11 साल के बिहेवियर की साइकिल में ये एक फिनोमिना होता है जो कि स्पेक्टेक्युलर होता है, फिनोमिनल होता है। तो उसको हमेशा एक्सपीरियंस करने की बात वो कह रहा है कि इस फिनोमिना को एक्सपीरियंस जरूर करना चाहिए। इट्स अ बिजार फिनोमिना। बिजार मतलब रेयर, दिस इज रेयर। What inference can be drawn about the author's perspective on solar activity? इसको पढ़कर हमें क्या लगता है, ऑथर का क्या इन्फरेंस है, ऑथर क्या हमको बताना चाह रहा है? The author views the sun's activity as mostly negative and potentially harmful. सिर्फ ऊपर ऊपर वो कह रहा है ऐसा कि भाई उसका जो हीट है वो बहुत ज्यादा तेज है और बहुत ज्यादा हीट लिबरेट हो रही है, लेकिन इट इज नॉट अबाउट नेगेटिव एंड हार्मफुल, इट इज अबाउट द ब्यूटिफुल स्पेक्टेयर ऑफ द नॉर्दर्न लाइट्स। सो ये बिल्कुल भी इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं हो सकता। The author encourages people to appreciate the beauty and significance of solar events, specifically the aurora lights or the northern lights. So this could be good answer. The author believes that solar phenomena are too complex for most people to understand. So he is not at all asking us to understand why it is happening and how it is happening. He is just asking us to experience that phenomenal activity. So this is wrong. The author thinks the sun's behavior should be monitored only by scientists. So he is actually inspiring all of us to do that. So ये बिल्कुल गलत है. So the answer is very clearly B. So as you can see that the questions are not very challenging or very confusing. Questions are quite, clearly visible options. You can eliminate options, you can come up with answers. But the only challenge is you have to do it fast because you are not given that much of time. All right, so absolutely good answer, Vipin. Next question, again about inference. What is the inference that you can draw from the paragraph? Okay, so let's do it. Plurality voting does have the virtue of simplicity. Whoever gets the most votes wins. So this is very simple. This is very simple. It's the election, that the democratic process of electing the government. But in close races, it is vulnerable to the kind of third party spoiler effect made infamous in 2000 US presidential election. The tiny fraction of votes that went to activist and Green Party candidate Ralph Nader in Florida almost certainly cost Democrats uh, Al Gore the state and the presidency. So he's saying that elections are good, and that's the way we actually elect the government. But there are times wherein the race is really, really close. All right. So there's no clear winner. The winner and the second one are actually almost same. So there is no clear distinction of vote. So majority नहीं है. In that case, the third party is the spoiler. वो क्या करते हैं, वो छोटे ही नंबर से जीते हैं, वो जीते नहीं एक्चुअली में, वो हारे हैं, बट विद देयर स्मॉल नंबर ऑफ वोट्स एंड देयर मैनिपुलेशन ऑफ पावर गेम दे कैन एक्चुअली मेक और ब्रेक द गवर्नमेंट, जैसे कि इंडिया में भी हुआ है। ठीक है, So that's what he is talking about. All right. Many jurisdictions try to get around this issue by holding a runoff election between top two vote getters. इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉर्ट करने के लिए अमेरिकन या अमेरिकन गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है? रन ऑफ इलेक्शंस करती है. रन ऑफ इलेक्शंस मतलब दो इलेक्शंस के बीच में ही एक और इलेक्शन हो जाता है. सेकेंड इलेक्शन को हम प्रीपोन कर लेते हैं. तो जहां जिस जगह पर कोई क्लियर वोटिंग नहीं हुई है या क्लियर जो है डिस्टिंक्शन नहीं हो पाया है, वहां पर वो रन ऑफ करवाते हैं. रन ऑफ मतलब प्रीपोनिंग द इलेक्शन और रीस्केड्यूलिंग द इलेक्शन to get a majority, clear, consensus. But runoffs tend to be time consuming. अब ये runoff की भी problems बता रहा है कि वो time consuming है, expensive है और because turnout is usually abysmal. अब ये लोग ने second round of elections करवाए, लेकिन उसमें सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि वो इतने एक्सपेंसिव होते हैं और गवर्नमेंट कैसे भी करके बेयर कर रही है, लेकिन वोटर्स टर्न अप होते ही नहीं है. तो वोटिंग अगेन बहुत ज्यादा कम होती है, बहुत ही कम होती है, इसलिए दैट मेक्स नो सेंस एट ऑल. डिसाइडेड बाय अ स्मॉल फ्रैक्शन ऑफ टोटल इलेक्टोरेट. तो अब इससे हमें क्या समझ में आया, इससे हम क्या जो है इन्फरेंस निकाल सकते हैं? तो पहला बोल रहा है रन ऑफ इलेक्शंस ऑलवेज गारंटी हायर वोटर टर्नआउट. तो ये तो लास्ट लाइन का बिल्कुल ऑपोजिट है, तो ये कैंसिल आउट हो गया. Runoff elections, while a solution to plurality voting issues, often create their own challenges, such as low turnout and high cost. ये आंसर हो सकता है क्योंकि ऊपर प्लूरैलिटी वोटिंग की प्रॉब्लम बताई, उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए रन ऑफ इलेक्शंस है, लेकिन इनके भी अपने challenges हैं. Most jurisdictions prefer runoff elections over plurality. ये बिल्कुल ही गलत बात है, कहीं पर भी इस तरह की बात प्रेफरेंस की नहीं हो रही है. Runoff elections have become obsolete in the modern voting system due to inefficiency. Obsolete का मतलब होता है useless. अब किसी काम के नहीं रहे हैं, ठीक है, दे आर गॉन अवे. अब आजकल उनके बारे में कोई भी काम नहीं होता या वो कोई भी बात नहीं होता. Okay, so this is again wrong. So the only answer we can have is B, which is taking care of both the points and summarizing. So this is something which we can infer. Next question. I just request you to move a little faster with me and bear with that speed because we have to do a lot of things and we are running out short of time. ऐसा ही एग्जाम में भी होने वाला है. Okay. So the real beneficiary of PFHI scheme in Indian context is private sector healthcare. This is provident fund or maybe something like health insurance. First, a health insurance cover ideally implies covering all healthcare expenses globally. It is unique that India's health insurance scheme covers only hospitalization expenses under the scheme. So आपको दिख रहा है ये क्या contradiction? ग्लोबल सिनेरियो अगर हम देखें तो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस शुड कवर ऑल हेल्थ केयर एक्सपेंसेस. मतलब हम अगर क्लिनिक पे जा रहे हैं, डॉक्टर के पास जा रहे हैं, दवाइयां ले रहे हैं, तो वो सारे एक्सपेंसेस वो कवर करते हैं. लेकिन इंडिया में जो हेल्थ केयर हो रहा है या हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस स्कीम है, वो सिर्फ हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन का एक्सपेंस बेयर करते हैं. अब उसका लॉजिक क्या है उनका? दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन मार्केट लॉजिक that if 50 crore people, 12 crore households are the beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri whatever Yojana. So 50 crore people are enrolled in the scheme. Only 2.5 crore people will have an actual need for hospitalization annually as per epidemiological data. तो जो डिजीज का डेटा है उससे हमें समझ में आता है 50 करोड़ लोग अगर हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस का फायदा ले रहे हैं या उसमें रजिस्टर कर रहे हैं तो सिर्फ 2.5 करोड़ हैं जो हॉस्पिटलाइज होने वाले हैं. बाकी लोगों को सिर्फ डॉक्टर का ट्रीटमेंट चाहिए, हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन नहीं चाहिए. तो यहाँ हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज क्या कर रही हैं? मोटा मुनाफा कमा रही, बिकॉज दे आर नॉट पेइंग फॉर हेल्थ ट्रीटमेंट, दे आर ओनली पेइंग फॉर हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन. और ऑथर ने बिल्कुल स्टार्क कॉन्ट्रास्ट क्लियरली आपको दिया है कि ग्लोबली ऐसा कहीं पर भी नहीं होता. ये सिर्फ इंडिया की हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस कंपनियां ही ऐसे बेवकूफ बना रही हैं. So what can be inferred about the focus of India's PFHI schemes based on the passage? The schemes prioritize comprehensive health coverage over hospitalization expenses. तो ये तो बिल्कुल ही गलत बात हो गई. इसका ऑपोजिट ऑथर बोल रहा है the schemes are designed primarily to benefit private healthcare providers, not to the people. जो लोग हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस ले रहे हैं उनको कोई बेनिफिट करने के लिए उनको डिजाइन नहीं किया गया है. बेसिकली डिजाइन किसको बेनिफिट करने के लिए किया गया है? प्राइवेट हेल्थ केयर प्रोवाइडर्स को. A significant portion of the population will not benefit from these schemes. Okay. The epidemiological data suggests a need for more public hospitals. So it's not about private hospital and public hospitals. It's about the intention of health insurance companies in India as compared to that globally. Globally, health insurance companies are committed to bear the expenses of all the health care expenses. It's only in India that they are only bearing the hospital expenses, nothing more than that. So the intention of these schemes is to basically benefit the company, the health insurance company, and not the actual user or the Indian population. Hence, it could be B or C. Now you have to choose. So basically, a significant portion of population, the author is not actually concerned with this. He is not talking about overall population. He is only saying people who are under the scheme, they could be, uh, you know, among them, only a few people might be benefiting who are getting hospitalized. So it is basically the need for hospitalization. They are only few people as compared to the total number of people who are registered for that scheme. So the answer should be B. It is not about how many people will benefit, but it is about the basic intention behind such schemes. It is not to benefit the people, but it is to benefit the private healthcare companies. Next. Okay, so the question is what conclusion can be made about the conditions on Mars based on the passage? Mars is a graveyard for explorers. All right, that means कब्रगाह. वहां जो जाता है वो मर जाता है. Many orbiters, landers, rovers, and other mechanical critters have either been cremated, उनका अंतिम संस्कार कर दिया जाता है in the red planet's thin atmosphere, or fallen silent in the ochre radiation smothered sands below right away, or at the end of their technological lifespans. तो जितनी भी tools और technological जो gadgets जा रहे हैं उनका वहां पर अंतिम संस्कार हो जाता है, वहां पर वो दब कर खत्म हो जाते हैं. Many belong to NASA and the mantra of their droids seem to be, if you are going to die, you might overachieve before you go. That means they know that the machine or whatever is going to die. So what kind of conditions we find on Mars? Mars has a thick atmosphere that protects explorers from radiations. इससे बड़ा झूठ कुछ नहीं है, क्योंकि it starts by saying that वहां उनकी कब्रगाह बन रही है. The harsh conditions on Mars, such as its thin atmosphere and radiation, pose severe challenge to exploration missions. So this is a good option. The explorers sent to Mars can operate indefinitely. अनंत काल तक काम कर सकते हैं. Given the planet's supportive environment. तो ये तो बिल्कुल ही झूठ बात हो गई, ये तो opposite बात हो गई. Mars missions are rarely affected by planet environment and most failures are due to their own flaws. तो ये भी बात बिल्कुल गलत हो गई. So the answer very clearly comes out as B. Okay. Now let's come to assumptions. This is another variety which is very, very prominent in NMAT as well as in SNAP. Provided that you are well versed with these, you will be able to solve them very quickly. What is an assumption? How to identify an assumption of the passage or the author? Assumption का basically line of reasoning. What is the reason behind author's argument? Author ऐसा क्यों बोल रहा है, किस basis पे बोल रहा है? That is what is called assumption. Leading bigger is where it all comes together, where the care for this big tent of people and values and purpose-based assessment of inputs are translated into action. Leading bigger has to be driven by a compelling purpose and values which are not platitudes, but rather lived. Platitudes, निर्जन बंजर जमीन जहां पर कोई आता जाता नहीं. The goals are better decisions, improved performance, and ultimately greater impact. Impact means you have the power to make real and enduring change for the better. So leading is not just about saying lot of things. It's basically doing lot of things, living up to those values is what he wants to say. So what is an assumption behind this? A compelling purpose and lived values are essential for effective leadership. Because he very clearly says that unless you are driven by compelling purpose and values and you live them, it's not possible that you become a great leader. Improved performance leads to greater impact in organizations. So it's only focusing on improved performance, not about values and purpose. Leading bigger can only be successful if it includes a diverse group of people. So he is not talking about diverse group of people. In fact, he is saying that we have to live the values and purpose. Making better decisions is solely dependent on assessment of inputs. So these are extreme words which should be avoided. This is wrong, and hence very quickly you can come to the answer that it has to be A. एक assumption का question और कर लेते हैं. assumption, क्या सोचकर ऑथर ने ये आर्गुमेंट दिया? Over the years, I have adopted many different positive habits. To me, a habit is positive when it improves the quality of my life. So he is defining positive habit. He considers a habit to be positive only when it improves the quality of life. A lot has been written about forming habits, how hard is, how long does it take, what's the best way to break habits, how do we adopt new habits. ये सारी चीजें, इनके ऊपर बहुत सारी चीजें लिखी जा चुकी हैं. ठीक. My experience is that everyone can adopt any habit they want. There's only one condition though. And what's the condition? You need a good reason to make a change. If you really have a compelling reason, which is very, very crucial for your survival, then definitely you're going to change that habit and become very positive. And in 99% of cases, the reason to change comes from personal suffering, sadness, and hurt. At some point, you can't stand your current behavior anymore. And hence, you have that compulsion to change. And that is where you will change your habit. So, what is the assumption made by the author? People can change their habits without experiencing any personal challenges. This is opposite of what the author has said. Positive habits are solely defined by their impact on individuals' life quality. That's not solely defined. It is the best way or to identify that this is positive. The need for a good reason to change is universal for everyone. So he is talking about this. Where is it? Yeah. This is the only condition which, according to the author, is required. And in 99% of the cases, it is from personal suffering. But 100%, there you need a good reason to change. So this is a good answer. Personal suffering is the only motivation for adopting positive habits. This is wrong, and hence answer should be very clearly C. You have to identify the flaw in the reasoning. थोड़ा सा बड़ा पैराग्राफ है. Try and identify the flaw in the reasoning in the passage. Okay, so this is a very good question which is asked by Ashish Singh. Very good question, that even if you are very confident about one particular option, is it important to go through all the options and eliminate them? Yes, it is. Because you never know कि next option हो सकता है कि आपने जो choose किया उससे better हो. So unless you have eliminated the three options, you cannot be very sure about the fourth or the final answer. But yes, एक शॉर्टकट जरूर है जो मैं अप्लाई करती हूँ इन माय स्पीड टेस्ट. जैसे स्नैप इज अ स्पीड टेस्ट, एनमैट इज अ स्पीड टेस्ट. इसमें हमें ये शॉर्टकट्स लगाने होते हैं रादर देन रीडिंग द एंटायर थिंग. अगर शुरुआत के ही 3-4 वर्ड्स या 5 वर्ड्स में कहीं कुछ एरर दिख गया या उसमें कुछ गड़बड़ दिख गई, तो फिर आगे का पढ़ने का कोई सेंस नहीं, वहीं क्रॉस करके उसको एलिमिनेट कर दो. बट हाँ, अगर दो ऑप्शंस के बीच में कंफ्यूजन है, दोनों सही लग रहे हैं, इन दैट केस दोनों ऑप्शंस को पूरा पूरा पढ़ के ढंग से समझ के पैराग्राफ से फिर ही आंसर कर सकते हैं. एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि वो चैलेंज आ जाता है कुछ क्वेश्चंस में, क्योंकि टाइम ही तो नहीं है हमारे पास. Okay, let's move ahead. The Supreme Court of India has invited suggestions from the parties concerned to frame appropriate pan-India guidelines on extra-legal demolitions. The order comes in the wake of multiple instances of demolition where the houses and buildings, establishments of persons accused of certain crime have been raised without following due process. So ये केस का जो है आधार है. व्हाट इज द केस? द केस इज कि जिन लोगों के ऊपर बहुत सारे क्राइम्स के आरोप लगे हैं, उनको बिना नोटिस दिए हुए, बिना कोई इंटिमिडेशन दिए हुए, उनके घर पूरी तरह से डिमोलिश कर दिए गए हैं. ठीक है, बिना बिना कोई प्रोसेस को फॉलो किए हुए, उसके ऊपर पूरा का पूरा आर्गुमेंट है. These demolitions have become commonplace over the last few years, targeting vulnerable groups and often leaving them without any legal recourse. This selective yet arbitrary state action has rendered the right to housing meaningless. Since evictions are brazenly carried out by local authorities, often at odd hours, without any alternative facility or engagement for rehabilitation. So basically, यहाँ पर ऑथर कह रहा है दैट ये जो डिमोलिशन हो रहे हैं, ये बहुत ज्यादा रैंडम है, बहुत ज्यादा फ्रीक्वेंट है. दूसरा, ये स्टेट एक्शन जो है, ये हाउसिंग के जो बेनिफिट्स हम गवर्नमेंट जो प्रॉमिस कर रही है, उसको पूरी तरह से खराब करे. क्योंकि आपने हाउसिंग का बेनिफिट तो दिया, लेकिन वो हाउस कभी भी डिमोलिश हो सकता है, आपको कभी भी बाहर निकाला जा सकता है. And it is basically targeting a specific set of people. The inequality, social communities, and the inequality, social conflict, and segregation that follow such action run the risk of intensifying the marginalization of certain communities and go against the spirit of constitution. तो वो सीधे सीधे उसके ऊपर एलिगेशन लगा रहा है कि ये marginalization बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा, उससे इंटेंसिफाई होगा. दूसरा, दिस इज अगेंस्ट द स्पिरिट ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन गिव्स इक्वल राइट टू ऑल सिटीजंस ऑफ इंडिया and due process enshrined in criminal procedure laws. However, it is only fair that they should face consequences for their actions regardless of the due process. तो ये जो लास्ट सेंटेंस है, ये कंक्लूडिंग सेंटेंस है कि हालांकि इतने सारे आरोप लग रहे हैं, बट अकॉर्डिंग टू द ऑथर, ये सारा डिमोलिशन एक नॉर्मल इंसान के लिए, एक अच्छे इंसान के लिए नहीं हो रहा है. दीज आर ऑल डन फॉर पीपल हु आर अक्यूज्ड ऑफ सीरियस क्राइम्स. हेंस अकॉर्डिंग टू द ऑथर, दे शुड पे फॉर व्हाट दे हैव डन. हाँ, दिस क्वेश्चन इज टाइम कंज्यूमिंग और यू हैव टू बी फास्ट. क्योंकि ज्यादा टाइम लोगे, गलत आंसर मार्क करोगे, दोनों ही केस में तुम्हारा स्कोर लो जाएगा और आगे क्वेश्चन जो है वो कम मिलेंगे सॉल्व करने के लिए. सो यू हैव टू बी फास्ट. सो फ्लॉ इन द रीजनिंग क्या है? द पैसेज सजेस्ट दैट ड्यू प्रोसेस शुड बी ओवरलुक्ड in cases involving accused individuals, which undermines the legal principle of fairness. तो वो लास्ट में ये बोल रहा है कि जिनके ऊपर जिनको अक्यूज किया गया है क्राइम के लिए, उनके लिए ये जो प्रोसेस है उसको ओवरलुक किया जा सकता है, लेकिन ये लीगल प्रिंसिपल ऑफ फेयरनेस के, मतलब हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अगेंस्ट है. सो दिस कुड बी अ गुड फ्लॉ. The author fails to acknowledge that not all accused individuals are guilty of crimes. ये भी एक अच्छा ऑप्शन है. This can also be the answer. क्योंकि ये जरूरी नहीं है ना कि जिसके ऊपर आरोप लगा हो वो गिल्टी भी हो. एक एक्विजिशन लगना और पर्सन बिकमिंग गिल्टी, दीज आर टू डिफरेंट थिंग्स. और यहाँ पर अक्यूज की बात की गई है, गिल्टी की बात नहीं की गई है. आरोप सिद्ध होगा तभी वो क्रिमिनल कहलाएगा. So this is good option. C says the argument ignores the potential benefit of demolition in maintaining public safety. इस बारे में कोई बात नहीं हुई है. The passage assumes that all legal systems are equally effective in protecting housing rights. ये तो पता नहीं कहाँ की बात कहाँ लेके जा रहा है. So there are two options and we have to identify which one is the real flaw in the reasoning present, क्योंकि दोनों ही लॉजिकल लग रहे हैं. If you ask me, I say that both are logical. This is also a valid point, but this is not the flaw in the reasoning of the passage. पैसेज की रीजनिंग का फ्लॉ नहीं है ये तो हमारे ऑब्जर्वेशन का फ्लॉ है कि भाई हम गिल्टी और एक्विजिशन में डिफरेंस नहीं कर रहे. ये ऑथर का नहीं है. ऑथर की लाइन ऑफ रीजनिंग फ्लॉ कहाँ जा रहा है? फ्लॉ ये जा रहा है कि वो इस चीज को एक्सेप्ट कर रहा है कि प्रोसेस फॉलो नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन वो कह रहा है उसको ओवरलुक कर दो क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली दे हैव टू पे फॉर देयर एक्शन. और ये किसके अगेंस्ट में है? कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अगेंस्ट है. So this is the line of reasoning which is getting flawed. So we will not prefer B, we will prefer A as the answer. Because this is not the line of reasoning, this is just an observation. But this is the line of reasoning. चलो अब फटाफट से कुछ ऐसे क्वेश्चन कर लेते हैं जो झटपट झटपट हो जाते हैं, जिनमें ज्यादा टाइम नहीं लगना चाहिए. These are courses of action. What do you mean by course of action? कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन क्वेश्चंस में कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन का मतलब क्या? यस, माइकल एंथनी, विपिन, आशीष, सुपरनोवा, एनी आंसर्स? कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन किसको बोलते हैं? कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है, कोई भी इशू है, आपको या तो उसको सोल्यूशन देना है, लॉजिकल सोल्यूशन टू सॉल्व दैट प्रॉब्लम, or it should be a step towards understanding or resolving that problem. It might not be immediately solving the problem, but it would be helping in solving the problem. So course of action is something which is helpful in either solving the issue which is there in the question statement, or it is helping towards it. All right, so let's move solve the questions. You have to decide which logically follows. A large number of tribal inhabitants are found to have been suffering from various diseases due to exposure to radioactive waste near the uranium mine. So what is the problem here? The problem is not the mine. The problem is because of mine, there are various diseases which these tribals are facing. So you have to identify the solution to it. Very good, नैना. बिल्कुल सही आंसर है. The government should immediately close down the mines. क्या माइंस को क्लोज करने से उनकी डिजीजेस खत्म हो जाएंगी? क्योंकि वहां यूरेनियम माइन तो रहेगी ही. अगर क्लोज हो भी गए तो भी रेडियो एक्टिव वेस्ट तो हो ही रहा है, और ये बंद कर देने से प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं हो रही. The government should immediately take steps to save local people from exposure to radioactive waste. The tribals should be rehabilitated at a safer place. वहां से लोगों को विस्थापित करके दूसरी जगह रिहेबिलिटेट करना चाहिए ताकि वो सेफ रहें. लोगों को शिफ्ट करना ज्यादा सही कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन है, rather than कि उस माइन को ही बंद कर दो. So the answer should be 2 and 3. Next question, try this. This is the statement and this is the courses of action. The state government has decided to declare Kala Azar as a notifiable disease under Epidemic Act. Under the Epidemic Act 1897, family members or neighbors of the patient are liable to be punished in case they did not inform the state authorities. So what courses of action should you follow? Efforts should be made to efficiently implement the act. Act तो बहुत पहले से है. कब से है? एक्ट तो 1897 से है, लेकिन वो इफिशिएंटली इंप्लीमेंट नहीं हो रहा, इसलिए तो लोग छुपा के रख लेते हैं. ठीक है, सो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट द एफर्ट शुड बी मेड टू efficiently implement the act. Cases of punishment should be propagated through mass media so that more and more people become aware of this stern action. तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों तक ये बात पहुंचानी चाहिए, प्रमोट करनी चाहिए, ताकि लोगों को पता रहे कि अगर वो छुपा कर रखेंगे तो उनके खिलाफ बहुत कड़ी कार्रवाई होगी. The government should denotify the disease as it can create turmoil in the society. तो ये तो बिल्कुल ही गलत हो गया, तो गवर्नमेंट पीछे हट रही है अपनी बात से. So the answer has to be only 1 and 2. कोई भी एक्ट के ऊपर, किसी लॉ के ऊपर, किसी भी तरह के डिसिप्लिनरी एक्शन के ऊपर, कॉलेज के, स्कूल के कोई बात आती है, कोई इशू आता है, तो एक कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन आता ही है दैट इट शुड बी इफेक्टिवली इम्प्लीमेंटेड. तो वो हमेशा ही सही रहेगा. क्यों? क्योंकि इफेक्टिव इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ लॉ से ही सुधार आता है. ठीक है. So the statement is private schools are making a lot of money by selling books, copies, and dresses in school. This unethical practice should be stopped. So this is the issue which they are facing. What courses of action should you suggest? Everybody should use government schools, hence private school business will be affected. तो कुछ illogical हो गया. प्रॉब्लम प्राइवेट स्कूल्स में है तो वो प्रॉब्लम को एड्रेस करना हमारे लिए बहुत जरूरी है. सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट स्कूल को प्रेफर करने से वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व नहीं हो रही. CBSE board and other school boards should take immediate action against such schools that are involved in such unethical practices. तो ये governing bodies हैं. Governing bodies should take immediate action against them. That is absolutely true. So only course of action is 1. I'm sorry. This is a mistake. The only course of action is 2. 1 को तो हमने कैंसिल कर दिया ना. 1 कैंसिल हो गई तो both और neither भी नहीं होगी. Only B. So that's all. I hope I made some sense to all of you, and you have learned a little today. Revised at least with me. These are very crucial questions, and these are going to give you cash marks if you are able to practice them and get speed. What you are lagging actually, and which most of the aspirants are, facing or struggling with, is not the concept. Concept you already understand, but it is the implementation of that concept quickly, logically, to identify the answers and move on. ये जो मूव ऑन नहीं कर पाते ना हम, जो थोड़ा सा स्टैग्नेट हो जाते हैं, वो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है. स्नैप में भी और एनमैट में भी. स्नैप में भी अच्छे से अटेम्प्ट कर सकते हो अगर तुम्हारा स्पीड अच्छा है. स्नैप में ओवरऑल 60 मिनट 60 क्वेश्चंस है. एनमैट में ऐसा नहीं होता है. एनमैट में तो जो स्क्रीन पे आया है उसको सॉल्व करना है और आगे बढ़ना है. ठीक है. बट देन दोनों में स्पीड बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. So practice questions or solving questions in under stipulated time so that you are able to move fast. I hope if there is any question. So that's all for today. This is the entire playlist of NMAT and SNAP questions. You can save this playlist and you can revise these questions. These are very, very close to the actual questions. All right. In fact, replicas of those questions. So these are going to give you good practice of it. So that's all from my side. Enjoy your festival. Relax a little bit, but do practice on questions. Namaste, everyone. Bye.